It's getting tough out there now. It's going to get even tougher if we don't start getting some better prices. This is a warning to anyone who's thinking of getting into this Courier game. Hi everybody, it's Dave here, Anvil Logistics. And it is another week in the ups and downs of life as a courier driver. As those of you who follow the channel know, that at the moment I'm currently driving a hire van. My van's been off the road. The whole thing has been a catalogue of disaster. I should have been well back in my van by now. And a lot of that is down to naivety on my part. I'm not a mechanic, so I obviously rely on other people's advice. Mistakes, I believe, by my garage, and also being let down by engine suppliers. The ultimate thing is the engine at the moment is now in the van, and they're just putting the final touches to it. It's going to then be road tested, blah de blah. So this will probably be the last week in this hire van. I'm debating whether to keep it on for another week, only just in case some problems develop with the van from having the new engine in, and I won't be able to get hold of a hire van after that. But I'll make that decision on Friday morning before I go away. And if I do, then obviously it's just more expense, but it is what it is. I've had lots of people give me advice about this engine and saying about, you know, you probably need to get rid of that garage. You should have been on the road within a week. And you know what? You're probably all right. And I will look back on this as an experience. And you can all use it as an example of what not to do when you need a new engine. Anyway, that aside, how's this week gone? Well, it's Wednesday now, and you see me on the M56, and I'm going to Holyhead on Anglesey, which is a nice drive. It's bloody freezing, and the winter sun is low, so it's quite bright. So hence, again, dickhead sunglasses on. Monday, I did work for my company that give me all the work, or most of my work at the moment. And I did fairly local things on Monday, nothing spectacular, but earned a reasonable day's money out of it. Thank you very much. Yesterday, again, they gave me a good job, which was from North Yorkshire, but I do get paid from my house. And then all the way to Yeovil, which is a very well-paid job. And today, again, I'm doing work for them today. Earlier this morning, I collected from Blackburn, took to Runcorn, and now I'm heading to Holyhead, and I'll be going back to Trafford Park, and should be back in Trafford Park by 2ish. And that will be it for the day, because my intention then is to take my son to look for some cars. So, that is that. I've not done a single thing on the CX. I did bid for something to try and get me part way back from Yeovil yesterday, although the job is very well paid. But I didn't get it because I bid the outrageous amount of £1.10 for a long wheelbase van to go from, I think, Bridgewater or somewhere like that, somewhere kind of on the way back, up towards the West Midlands, which was kind of taking me part home. And I didn't get the job. I was the only van within about 30 miles of that job, but they didn't want to pay it. So fair enough, I didn't get the job. It was immediately down as cancelled on my thing and then reposted. So they didn't like my outrageous price of £1.10 a mile. So I then requoted at a higher price, just as a protest vote and as a kind of up yours to them. Didn't get it, obviously. And that is really what I want to talk about now for the rest of this video, because I won't be making any other additions to this video this week, because I'm having a long weekend this weekend, and I'm having a long weekend the following weekend. And I want to talk about the prices that we get the work for and whether it's worth it or not. And this is certainly aimed at people who may be considering starting out life as a courier, and also to people who mainly work on the CX. Now, I'm in a chat group. I was in a few chat groups. I've left most of them because you can't keep up with all. But I've stayed in one, which is James's chat group. James from Freddie Fletcher's, and lots of guys on there. There's a mixture of guys, some with loads of experience, some new guys, big vans, small vans, Luton vans, you name it. Lots of guys who operate. Lots of them just operate solely on the CX, and some a mixture. They might do what I do and do a lot of work for one particular company and then try and pick up backloads. Or they may have some of their own customers and again try and supplement that with some work on the Courier Exchange. And it's the Courier Exchange work that I'm talking about. And I know I've mentioned it before, but I think it's worth mentioning again. The loads are going too cheap. And the people who bid for that loads are us, the drivers. And for this time of year, it should be busy, but it isn't. There's been days when there's been lots of work on now and again. But on the whole, when I look back on last year, it's a lot quieter. And I know guys who have given the game up, who packed it in completely now because they're not making it pay. Or they're working, and when they worked it out, they were working for less than minimum wage. By the time they'd taken the cost of fuel and the general running costs like insurance, CX membership, and they were actually earning from a job less than minimum wage, which is completely no good. Because you're self-employed, you need to be taking more than minimum wage because you aren't getting any holiday pay and you're not getting any sick pay. You have to factor that in as well. So there's no point in working for whatever the equivalent of, say, £11 an hour is, whatever the minimum wage is, because the job is no use to you as a self-employed person. So you need to try and forget about the bids you're putting in. Not everybody. And think about what a realistic figure is. I'm not saying you need to be greedy, because you definitely won't get the job. But you need to bid at a more realistic price than the 70 pence a mile for a small van, £1 a mile for a medium van, and or a long wheelbase. It doesn't pay. The only time that pays you is if you're using it as a backload and you've had a good rate to get there. Otherwise, you're wasting your time, and we're all setting the market rate too low. And of course, the shippers are getting used to us bidding for 70 pence a mile. So that now becomes the accepted price for a small van. But if you do the maths on that, unless you're guaranteed a backload, you're not working for enough money. And you need to start bidding higher. We all need to start bidding higher. And I know that's easier said than done. And I know guys who work on the CX, like the Saintsman, for example, who earn a living out of it. He's very, very experienced, Dave. He knows a lot of shippers. And he doesn't just work for 70 pence a mile all the time anyway. Quite frequently, he will get £1 a mile. But as long as we continue to bid at a suicidally low rate, it will catch up with you. You'll come to a point where your van needs repairing and you don't have the money to do it. Or you're going to be ill, you're going to be off work for a week or two, you've got no money and you've got no money to back you up during that time. Your CX renewal comes up and it's £1,600 or £2,000 depending on when you joined. You haven't got it. There's no point. You might as well work for somebody else for minimum wage and no outlay of your own. Now, it's hard because it's quiet. There's not a lot of work on there. And to get the job, you're bidding super keen. Now, some people on the chat group, again, they don't work all week. because they won't go below a certain price. They stand the ground and don't work. And some people say, well, that's stupid. You might as well earn something. But no, in a way, they're right. Because if you work for 50 pence a mile, 60 pence a mile, 70 pence a mile, and I'm using small vans as an example here, you could be losing money when you think about it. All you're doing is giving it to this shipping company super cheap. They're not charging their customers 80 pence a mile and selling it you for 70. Oh no, they're charging, I would guess, on average, for a small van, 130 a mile, maybe 140. Not all of them, and of course they're bidding for work themselves, and they might be undercutting to get that work, knowing that there's some fool out there is going to do it cheap anyway. And what's happening is the economy's in a downturn, work's less available, and everybody's panicking, and it's a race to the bottom to get a job. And that job really is a loss maker. I believe, and this is easier said than done and probably won't happen, so all I'm doing is giving my opinion, and you can tell me to shove it up my ass if you want. Everybody needs to start bidding a little bit higher. And if we all bid a little bit higher, that will become the norm. And when you see these companies who say, I've got £25 on this job, because that's not your fault they've only got 25 quid on it, and it's possibly a lie anyway. You have to have a minimum that you will do a job for. And you need to set a minimum. You need to say, look, I won't do a delivery for less than 35, 40 pounds. Because none of these deliveries are straightforward. It's rare that you get them straightforward. You've got to make your way to the job. You've then got to go to a place, ask for the stuff. They've then got to find it. You've got to find someone to load you if it's a pallet. You may have to wait. You might get a belligerent member of staff who says, you'll have to wait because I'm loading that wagon first, and all the usual stuff that you have to come across. Then you've got to drive to do the job. Even if it's across the city and it's only 5 miles, it still may take you 30 minutes. And then when you get there, you've got to unload it, get it signed for, upload all the documentation onto your CX. And all that takes time. And time, it's not just distance, it's time taken. So then if you think, I'm getting £25 to do a job, and the whole thing takes you an hour and a half, you've used fuel and used time, £25 isn't really enough, is it? Certainly not if you're self-employed. Because you've got to factor in all the other things you need to factor as well. So stop giving them time of day. I've decided now, when I see these stupid people who dictate a price, I'm blocking them. I'm going to block that shipper. Because I don't want anything to do with them anyway. I don't even want to see their work anymore. Because all it does, I look at it and it makes me seethe. And lads and lasses on the chat group, you know, you post the images of jobs where companies are saying, pays this much, or we need this doing and we want to give our driver a lift home, which they're not allowed to do anyway. Do you want to deal with that company anymore? Let's start blocking them off our feed. They'll block us sometimes. Well, let's block them. Let's not use them. And stop bidding ridiculously low if you can. Because if everybody bids at a reasonable price, then the factor comes down to more like location of where you are and what kind of feedback you've got. It's ridiculous. Yes, I know backloads are a completely different matter. For backloads, people can afford to bid low because they've had a good price there. But not every load is a backload. They advertise jobs as a hot shot and it needs to get there ASAP. That's not a backload. That's the job that is a same day urgent job, and as such deserves a fair price. So I believe the more people that start bidding fair price, and not talking about stupid here, I understand that shippers have got to make a living, but not at your expense. And if they can't clear that job because no one bids it at the price they want, then they'll need to start charging more. But it's ridiculous. We're all in a race to the bottom at the moment. I'm lucky. I have work from another supplier and they pay me a fair price. It's not outrageous. It's just a fair price. That factors in everything I need, from running costs, fuel, factors in putting money away for time off, emergency repairs to the van. They recognise that I can need to run for a certain amount per mile or time. You know, if it's a job that's not going far, that takes time. So I get compensated for that when I do the work for them. I'm lucky. Not everybody's got this, but there are plenty of people out there who use regular shippers because they do a good job and that shipper uses them. Aim to work for those companies that give you a fair price and ignore the ones who are taking the mickey. And if they can't get the work cleared, they may have to rethink what they sell the work for. I want shippers to make a profit, obviously, because otherwise there'll be no shippers out there. But you've got to think about how much it really costs to run a van as a self-employed person. Don't just think about making minimum wage. Think about making more than minimum wage, because you need the extra money for all your contingencies. You need to plan for your vehicle breaking down, being ill, time off. It costs an awful lot of money to run a vehicle as a self-employed person. We do more miles than anybody else, so we service the vehicles more and they break down more often. Look at me. I've been off the road for 5 weeks. So I'm paying out extra money to hire a van so I can keep working. But if you keep working for nothing, you'll be out of business before you know it. I'm seeing people coming in, giving it up. And then you might be landed with a debt for a van you've financed. So start thinking a bit clever about how much you're bidding. The more people that do it, the more people that bid for a fair price, not an outrageous one, a fair price, the market may change. This country's on its arse at the moment. You know, the same day market is really down. I'm seeing this morning on Facebook, scanning through Facebook, there was a post on there for an 18-tonner saying, really quiet this time of year. If anybody's got any work, let me know. This is an 18-ton owner operator. Not a little diddy van like what we're in. He's struggling to cover work at this time of year when he should be full of pallets going somewhere because of the time of year. Because we all know what's going to happen in January. It's going to go flat on its ass. And we're going to have scrabble over what little work there. A lot of people play clever, maybe go on a holiday, things like that. But I'm prepared for it being quiet, and I've got some money put away for it. Not as much as I'd like to have had because I paid out money for the van, but I've got money put away ready for a quiet January. As everybody else. And if you've come in as a new driver and you haven't got any other connections and you're just going to rely on the CX, it's going to be terrible. This is really negative, I know, but I think I and other YouTube people have been accused of glorifying the job. And it has its good points, this job. The freedom, the fact that you're out on the road, you can stop when you like, you know, as in not work if you don't want to work. You visit lots of different places. You can choose to go to different areas by picking jobs that you want to do. But it is bloody hard to make the money. You know, and if you've got a young family and a mortgage and other commitments, I would urge you to think twice before thinking about coming into this game. I'm different. I'm just an old fat boy who's got no mortgage and his kids have grown up. I don't have the same financial requirements that a lot of people have. So to me, this job, when I first came into it, was a way of earning some money without the pressures that I had in my previous job. But if you have got commitments like a massive mortgage, I wouldn't be comfortable doing this work, because there's absolutely no guarantee. The only guarantee upcoming now is January is going to be dead, and you're not going to earn very much money at all. So if you're sat at home thinking, I want to get out of my job, and you've been scanning YouTube and searching about being a courier driver, think long, hard and carefully. You need to find customers of your own, or a regular work supplier who's going to give you a regular supply of work, and then you can supplement that with the courier exchange. The courier exchange, despite the adverts that they're putting out, and then they've got drivers there going on how brilliant it is and saying, yeah, my name's Frank and I've been on the courier exchange for 3 years and it's fantastic, and I live in a massive big house now thanks to the courier exchange. I don't know where these guys are doing. I don't know what they're getting for saying it, but I genuinely don't believe what they're saying, because it's bloody hard if you just work on the courier exchange. Really difficult. I take my hat off, there you go, bald head, to anybody who works full time on the courier exchange and earns a living out of it, because it's really difficult, because the prices that the work's going for is too low. There are good shippers out there who pay fair money, but there are also a lot of shippers who are looking to exploit drivers, knowing that you're desperate to find the work. So please, stop bidding low and let's create a market price that's more reasonable. Now, I am just a lone voice who, in the big scheme of things, it means nothing. But I have a little bit of a platform and a YouTube channel, so that's why I'm saying it. I'm there to be shot down. Plenty of people do put comments about I'm a dickhead. Amric, you've not made a comment for a while, mate. Give us another comment. I do miss your beautiful comments about me and the other YouTubers. But at the end of the day, we're all out to earn a living. YouTuber is no different than anybody else. He's out to earn a living. And I tell you how it is. And I'm telling you, it's really hard. And I'm rabbiting on too long now, so I'm going to finish my video. Thank you for watching. Please give us a thumbs up. It helps the channel get out there. I'm going to have a nice long weekend, so I'm looking forward to that and the following weekend as well. I hope that you all make some money, and I hope it's giving you food for thought. Of course, I'm not always right on everything. In fact, I'm not right on a lot.